Hello, and welcome to the Hardware Guide official Compaq Presario C714nr notebook PC review. In this review, we'll go over the basics about the Compaq Presario notebook PC in regards to performance, price, expandability, availability, specifications, the looks of it, and more. Now, for our first item on the agenda is the looks. Now, the looks of the Compaq Presario isn't going to turn much heads, but it is pretty kind of sleek and it looks really nice. And a lot of people like the look because it's minimalist, it's simple, and it's nothing that that gets too flashy or dirts up easily or attracts fingerprints easily. On the external of the case, they call it a minimalist gray design case, which basically means it's a dark color, like a charcoal gray color, almost a black kind of color, on the outside of the case. That's pretty durable, and it's not like HP's new runner-up models that have the new sleek, shiny finish that's really not resistant to fingerprints and shows dirt really easily. This one is actually the opposite. It's a rough, coarse surface that doesn't scratch easily and is very resistant to fingerprints. The only time it'll show a fingerprint is if you have greasy hands and you put your hand on the case, but I've never really done that, so I have no worries about that. And on the inside, there is a kind of shiny, kind of slippery case substance that's on the touchpad and around the touchpad that goes all the way up to the speaker bar near the LCD screen. And that actually attracts a lot of fingerprints, so you might want to consider getting a cleaning cloth for that, or if you don't want to spend the money, just take a wet paper towel and wipe it down every once in a while. For the second item on our list, performance, the Compaq Presario is pretty good, but there could be, there could be upgrades in the performance, and there could be a little bit more for the money that I paid for it. Now, for this computer, I paid about $450, and it came with 1 gig of RAM, Windows Vista Home Premium, an Intel Pentium dual-core processor at 1.64 gigahertz, and a 120 gigabyte hard drive. Now that is actually pretty good specs for the price, but one thing that I was disappointed to find was that this model is not really expandable. To my knowledge, I thought that it was expandable to around 2 to 3 gigabytes of RAM. This model does not go past the standard 1 gigabyte of RAM that it comes with, so that is a huge downside, and if I ever wanted to upgrade the computer, I'd really have to upgrade by buying a new one. Now, for doing basic things like internet usage and Word documents, spreadsheets, emailing, and everything, that's pretty good. It can bog down your system if you're doing things like multimedia or viewing photos and editing videos. That can bog down the system because of the lack of RAM and the slower end processor, along with the combination of Windows Vista Home Premium, which in itself is heavy. And that 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 kind of makes it a little bit groggy. The computer makes it a little bit groggy, if you know what I mean. But on the third item of our list, price, like I said, I paid $450 for the computer, and I really like it. It comes with a pretty good amount of features for it. It comes with an S-video out port, one Ethernet and one modem port, a fan on the left-hand side, 3 USB ports, one VGA port, one DC adapter, and on the right-hand side, there is a DVD drive, a dual-layer DVD drive. And on the front of the computer, when you open the lid, there is a headphone in and a microphone in port, and your display LEDs that have power, charge, hard drive activity, and wireless LAN. And on the case where the speakers are, there's also a wireless LAN on-off switch, which is a nice plus because you don't have to go into all these menus and subsettings and turn your wireless off. All you have to do is just press a button and it's off to save you battery. Now, as far as the computer's overall availability, I do not know if you can get this model anymore. I know you can get the Compaq like C7F US computers, or whatever model number they are. But I know this model was an older model, for I got it in Christmas of 2007, and they were kind of older back models that Compaq probably just wanted to get rid of. As for the operating system, a lot of people have said, 1 gig of RAM bogs down Windows Vista a lot. Well, I'm here to say otherwise. 1 gig of RAM with Windows Vista is just fine, but however, if you want to do gaming or if you want to do like video encoding or MP3 encoding, you're going to want more RAM and a faster processor. Because 1 gig of RAM and a dual core processor is good for what I wanted to do and what, students in college or maybe even some teachers would need to do with the computer, but not for serious professionals that need to do 3D graphics and encoding and everything like that. I would recommend an upgrade for that. Around 2 gigs of RAM, maybe a tri-core, quad-core processor, maybe even 3 gigs of RAM even. Now, the computer, as far as heat emissions, I know some people, are concerned about the heat emissions. With Intel, it has been proven that Intel chipsets are cooler than AMD chipsets, meaning they run cooler and, they're more battery efficient. Well, the thing about it is, they are cooler, but I'm not so sure about the power efficiency and energy efficiency of the processors itself, because that all depends on, what else you have running on your computer. If you have a bunch of processes running and you have like antivirus scan going and you have like printer drivers going and you have the internet running along with, audio recording and all that stuff, it's going to bog down the system regardless of what power setting you're on. And the battery in this thing, if you're doing word processing, you can get about 3 hours to 3.5 hours, which is pretty impressive. I thought it would only get around 2, but it gets way more. But if you're doing a combination of things, such as, hooking it up to an external monitor and, doing emailing and, picture viewing and editing, your battery's gonna last about an hour and a half to about 2 hours and 50 minutes. So you might want to consider getting a 12-cell battery or maybe even a 6-cell battery if you want to do a little bit more things without having to plug in your computer. Alright, well that's basically it for the Compaq Presario C714nr notebook PC review. If you want more information and see my computer setup, please go to http://www.freewebs.com/petershardwareguide and click on the link which says My Computer Setup. Alright, thanks for watching.